President Trump says the Federal Reserve should cut interest rates.
What should the Fed do with interest rates?
Well, I personally think the Fed should drop rates. I think they really slowed us down. There's no inflation. I would say in terms of quantitative tightening, it should actually now be quantitative easing.
Today's talk on the Fed actually coming a day after President Trump pegged former presidential candidate Herman Cain for a Federal Reserve seat, setting up what is sure to be a bruising confirmation hearing. Joining me now, New York Post columnist Karol Markowicz and RBA Portfolio strategist Dan Suzuki. Dan, let me just start with you. Larry Kudlow last week, President Trump now, saying the Fed should cut rates. Essentially what they're saying is that the Fed should forget about this traditional role where they come to the rescue and just, roll up your sleeves and help push this economy even further, especially since you slowed it down unnecessarily last year. Is there some rationale to that?
Well, you have to look at who you're asking the question to, right? If my employer asks me whether I want to raise or not, I'm going to tell them I want to raise, right? Of course, they'd love to have interest rate cuts. They'd love to have the monetary policy be as supportive as possible to boost growth, especially when they know that growth is going to slow this year. But I think from a policy perspective, stepping back from an objective perspective, I think that I think it's kind of mixed. I think it's clear that growth is slowing, but it's clearly not falling off a cliff at the same time. So I think being patient to me makes a lot of sense.
Both political parties, though, looking at the Fed, because that's the only entity in the world that can create trillions of dollars out of thin air. Imagine what you can do with that, right? Just imagine if you were president, what you can do with that. Of course, the real other big news in the Fed is Herman Cain. Immediately, all kinds of different, objections came out, and to the point where some are even portraying him as a caricature. But you know him personally.
I worked on his U.S. Senate race in 2004 in Georgia, and he is a serious person. He's a serious man. He has serious policy ideas. The joke that the media turned him into in 2008 is not representative of him at all. I have plenty of disagreements with Mr. Cain. I disagree with much of his writing on the gold standard. But disagreeing with somebody politically doesn't mean that they're not qualified for the role that they've been. But
something like 999, right? I mean, they're going to have a lot of fun with that. They're going to have a lot of fun with some other things. They're just calling him a pizza guy. Yeah. I mean, that really is. He's a much larger figure than that.
Much larger, and he has a very serious resume. And if the Republicans don't push back on this, that'll be their own fault. He is not a joke. He worked for the Kansas City Fed. He has a lot of real-world experience that we should like at the Fed. And so it's really up to the Republicans right now to make the argument that we're not going to take this lying down just because you've decided he's unqualified, Paul Krugman or whoever. Right. Doesn't mean that we're going to accept that.
Dan, the idea that President Trump stacking the Fed from a Wall Street perspective, what's wrong with that?
Well, again, you got to go to the source, right? Of course, they're going to want someone that's going to cut rates or be more dovish on the spectrum. So that's what you're going to get. And I think that, from a credential perspective, I agree with Karol. I think he's got a lot of background. I grew up eating Godfather's pizza, so that seals the deal already. No, but if he clearly has a lot of experience at the Fed.
President Trump, by the way, folks, that's El Centro, California. He's headed to the border. He's in a great mood. He's pushing this agenda very, very well. We know that he's very serious about this, and is also going to show off what a new wall looks like to the American public. Didn't mean to cut you off, Dan. Karol, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.